They say if you walk through Hollow Creek Graveyard at midnight on Halloween, you'll hear voices under the ground. And if you answer them, they'll take your voice too. I didn't believe it until last Halloween. It started as a stupid dare. 3 friends, me, Evan. Then there was Liam and Tara. We were seniors. We thought Halloween was for little kids, candy, costumes, all that. So when Liam said we should do something real, something that would actually scare us, we followed him into the woods behind Maple Street. That's where Hollow Creek Graveyard was. Old, overgrown, forgotten. No one went there anymore. Not since the church burned down 50 years ago. We got there just before midnight. The air was thick, still. Even the wind felt like it was holding its breath. Our flashlights cut through the fog, weak beams shaking in the dark. The tombstones were crooked, some broken, names worn away by time. Tara shivered and said we should just take a few pictures and go. Liam teased her for being scared. She said it was just colder here. She was right. The temperature had dropped, like we'd stepped into a freezer. Liam pulled out his phone and started recording, saying it was a midnight challenge at Hollow Creek Graveyard. He told me to go first, to ask them a question. I laughed, trying to act brave, and said, "Hello? Anyone awake down there?" At first, there was only silence. Then, a faint sound, like whispering, coming from beneath the ground. I thought it was wind, but then I heard words, soft, slow. "He hears us." Tara gasped. I tried to laugh it off, saying it was probably someone hiding. But Liam grinned like a maniac. He wanted to keep going. He moved closer to a cracked tombstone. The name barely visible. Eleanor Brackett, 1889 to 1910. He leaned down and whispered, asking if she could hear him. And the ground answered. "We all hear you." This time, we all heard it. Clear. Human. Dozens of voices whispering together, like the soil itself was speaking. Tara screamed for us to stop and leave, but Liam kept recording, saying it was real. He pressed his ear to the ground, begging them to say something again. The whispers turned into soft, eerie laughter, like 100 people giggling from underground. Then one voice rose above the rest. "Do you want to see us, Liam?" He froze, staring down at the dirt. He said, "Did it just say my name?" The dirt beneath him began to move. Just slightly at first, a tremble, then a ripple, like something was pushing from underneath. Tara screamed for him to get away, but before he could, a pale hand burst from the soil, thin, gray fingers reaching for him. Liam fell backward, flashlight shaking wildly. We watched in horror as the ground around the graves began to shift, as if the earth was breathing. Faint shapes beneath the dirt were moving. I yelled for us to leave, grabbed Tara's hand, and ran. But Liam didn't move. He was staring at the graves, whispering something under his breath. "They're calling me." I turned back. His phone's light glowed on his face, blank, empty. He was smiling now, slowly stepping toward the cracked tombstone again. I shouted for him to stop, but he didn't even blink. He dropped to his knees and placed both hands on the soil. The whispers grew louder, chanting his name. Tara screamed that he was sinking, and he was. The ground swallowed his hands first, then his arms, then his shoulders, like wet mud pulling him down. I ran to him, tried to grab his hand, but the dirt was cold and soft, sucking him in. I screamed for him to give me his hand. He looked up at me, eyes completely black. He whispered, "You shouldn't have answered." Then he was gone. The ground sealed itself like nothing had happened. Tara and I ran through the fog, screaming for help, tripping over roots and stones. When we finally reached the road, My watch said 12:06 a.m. 6 minutes past midnight, 6 minutes in that graveyard. But it felt like hours. The police searched for days. No sign of Liam, no footprints, no camera, nothing. The only thing they found was his flashlight, standing upright in front of Eleanor Brackett's grave. Still turned on. Weeks passed. Tara wouldn't talk about it. She moved away before Christmas. But I couldn't stop thinking about that night. The voices, the whispers, and what Liam said before he disappeared. You shouldn't have answered. A year later, this Halloween, I went back. I don't know why. Maybe I needed to see for myself. Maybe I hoped it was all in my head. The graveyard looked the same. Quiet, empty, forgotten. I found Eleanor's tombstone. The ground looked undisturbed. But when I knelt down, I saw something carved into the stone. Faint, fresh scratches. 3 words. He hears us. Then I heard it again. The whispering. Dozens of voices beneath the dirt, but one voice stood out. Calm. Familiar. Evan, it's so cold down here. My heart stopped. It was Liam. I whispered his name. The voice said, "Help me." It came from directly under my feet. I dropped my flashlight. The beam rolled across the ground and lit up a handprint pressed in the dirt. Fresh. The whispers grew louder. Closer. The soil began to shift again. Evan, we can see you now. Something grabbed my ankle. They say if you walk through Hollow Creek Graveyard at midnight on Halloween, you'll hear the voices beneath the tombstones. If you ever do, don't answer them. Because once they know your name, they'll never stop calling for you. Tell us in the comments. Would you dare walk through Hollow Creek Graveyard at midnight? Or would you keep walking when the voices call your name?